This Father's Day, refresh Dad's tool collection with the sweetest brands like Cobalt at Lowe's. Right now, you can buy one select Cobalt 24-volt Max kit and get one select Cobalt Bear tool free, up to a $139 value. The gift of powering Dad's summer projects is priceless. Shop Lowe's in-store or online today to make it happen. While supplies last, valid 5/2 through 7/31.
The future will be amazing, and that's all well and good. But what about today? You can feel the rush of a 400-horsepower Nissan Z, or climb to new heights in the all-terrain Nissan Frontier. Light up the road in the all-electric Nissan Aria that feels like a sci-fi dream come true. The future will be great, but today is made for thrill. All you have to do is get in a Nissan and drive. 2023 Aria and Z not yet available for purchase. Expected availability is this spring for 2023 Z and this fall for 2023 Aria.
What's up? It's your boy, the Ted Smith. Thanks for listening to the Men's Room Daily Podcast. Want more? Check out the greatest podcast in all the land, The Podcast. Be sure to subscribe and listen to a brand new episode every Tuesday night.
Unfortunately, what you're about to hear is real. The members of this radio program are simply not that bright, or what some people would call educated. They are merely stupid. They're not trying to offend anyone on purpose. And all have played doctors on TV. You have been warned and are cordially invited to join the party. This is the Men's Room.
Forget it, man, and get with the countdown. Get with the countdown. Shake this square world and blast off for Kicksville. The trippers, the grasshoppers, the hip ones, all gathered in secrecy and flying high as a kite.
This is the Men's Room with Miles and Thrill. You know what they say, shake your radio more than 3 times, and you're playing with it. You're listening to the Men's Room.
All right. And away we go. Welcome to season 16, episode number 3585. Along with Steve the Thrill Hill, the Ted Smith, and Mike Hawk. And you are in the Men's Room. On tap today, Ryan Castle joins us from his basement studio dungeon bar, and once again, we will sit and spin now. Today, Ryan makes the ladies tingle with the top 10 best boy bands of all times. We will play Profile This, plus headlines, a Men's Room shot of the day, fun with listener emails, and everyone's favorites, TV Time with Ted. Clack, drinking and drunk. All right, here we go. Grandma pulled over with a bottle of vodka in her hand, also had a straw with powder in her hand. Meanwhile, Uber would like to remind you that choking and biting your driver has officially been banned. Drug man who rolled a minivan also had a Tesla tattoo on his face. Attorney who swindled $2 million from client gets to call jail his happy new place. And in Germany, if you want to die, you have to be fully vaccinated. That is all coming on today's very special episode of The Men's Room.
And now, here's the question.
Hola, bitches. Good day to you and yours. All right, according to those very sexy bitches at the U.S. Labor Department, there are over 10 million openings nationwide. And with the labor shortage, a lot of employers are offering all kinds of incentives to fill those positions. Flexible work hours, college tuition assistance, paid paternal leave. These are some of the attractions that companies are using to lure potential workers. How about this? How about this as an incentive? We will buy not one, but both of your current homes for $500,000 over asking price. Then we will buy you a new $6 million home. Then we'll give you and your family unlimited access to a private jet 24/7. Oh, and also we'll pay you $110 million. That's the deal that USC offered former Oklahoma coach Lincoln Riley to come to California. Meanwhile, Coach Brian Kelly is leaving his gig at Notre Dame to replace Riley in Oklahoma, but he only gets a measly $95 million over 10 years. I hope he can make ends meet. But look, job perks aren't all about the salary or private jets or free houses. Sometimes it's just about the job itself. There's a guy in Montana. His job is to shoot at migratory birds before they land in a toxic lake and die. Seriously, that's it. That is the job. And he loves it. But today, we want to know, what's the thing you like about your job? Or maybe a job you've already had, whether it's the insurance, working remotely, maybe you just didn't work with idiots. We don't know. But today, we want you to answer this question. What is the coolest thing about any job you've ever had?
Be a part of the big show. Call 206-421-ROCK. You can like the Men's Room on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Men's Room Live. And send those emails to the Men's Room at KISW.com.
Find the gifts Dad craves at Lowe's. Right now, you can save on select Skill Power Core 12 tools that feature 25% longer runtime and have patented cooling technology. Save $10 off the Skill Power Core 12 brushless drill driver kit, now just $59.98. Or upgrade Dad's toolbox and save $30 on the 5-tool brushless combo kit, now just $169. There's nothing sweeter than Father's Day at Lowe's. Offer valid 6/9 through 6/22 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
The future will be amazing, and that's all well and good. But what about today? You can feel the rush of a 400-horsepower Nissan Z, or climb to new heights in the all-terrain Nissan Frontier. Light up the road in the all-electric Nissan Ariya that feels like a sci-fi dream come true. The future will be great, but today is made for thrill. All you have to do is get in a Nissan and drive. 2023 Ariya and Z not yet available for purchase. Expected availability is this spring for 2023 Z and this fall for 2023 Ariya.
Take the next step toward the career you want, be it business, cybersecurity, healthcare, or more. UMGC can help you get there. No application fee when you apply by August 31st. Visit umgc.edu, certified to operate by Chev.
The best defense is a good offense. So before the sewer backs up into your home and wreaks havoc, stop freaking and call Beacon. Beacon Plumbing, Heating, and Mechanical is there for you when you need them most. 1-800-FREAKIN or beaconplumbing.net.
Listening to the Men's Room with Miles and Thrill. 99.9 KISW.
Hold it, Jones, and away we go. Welcome to season 16, episode number 3,585. What a large and a charged program do we have for you today. Guaranteed future repeat, that is a fact. Ryan Castle once again will join us from his basement studio dungeon bar, and we will sit and spin. Ted, good news. 10 best boy bands of all times coming up.
Oh, let's get it.
I'm not sure how they define this. Back in the day,
include Jackson 5,
Temptations were a boy band. Four Tops were a boy band. I mean, Jacksons obviously were a boy band. Hell, I mean, there's some really bad boy bands before we got to the point where we really thought about boy bands.
Because we're going to call them boy bands.
Yeah.
Well, it's always that thing, too. Like, do the Jacksons count? Because they played instruments.
See, in my mind, no.
Right. I always think of boy bands as dudes that sing and dance.
Right.
Okay. So you can't play an instrument.
That's mine and Ted's general outlook.
Right. You know what I mean? Like Backstreet, NSYNC, none of them actually played an instrument. I'm sure some of them can.
Temptations would be fine.
Right. Absolutely.
Something like that. Okay. So we've got the 10 best boy bands of all times coming up as we will sit and spin with Ryan Castle. And guess what? Today, as you know, is Giving Tuesday. Coats for Kids Day is underway. Once again, BJ and Miggs. They have teamed up with the Washington State Council of Firefighters and Operation Warm this holiday season to put a brand new coat on a kid in need. It only takes...
Not just one kid, though.
It only takes $20.
That kid in need.
Well, there's lots of kids.
Well, it's just the way you said it. Like, hey, they're giving a coat to a kid in need. The rest of them are on their own.
Lucky kid will get a $20 coat. By the way, if you head to KISW.com, we have teamed up with the fine folks at Caltriffs. And what they do is they make incredible videos of different musicians from all over the country, all over the world. They have been collaborating through the pandemic and coming up with some just great covers of tunes that you would...
That's how it started, right?
Yeah, normally you think that, you know, any of these guys would want to be involved in. There's a version of Rod Stewart, believe it or not, where William Dafoe not William Dafoe, God Almighty, William Duvall. Jesus, that would be
It's
weird.
a rough start today.
I'm telling you, from Alice in Chains, he covers Young
William
Turks.
Dafoe.
William Dafoe, that would be really weird.
Dude, that would be a creepy video because he's in it.
Yeah, let's do this. Wood, all right. Yeah, so at any rate, on the KISW, I guess, house players, the new originals, the members of the air staff, all got together and put together a little video. Now, just so you know today, all right, the highest donation that we receive today, you will be included in that Father Christmas holiday video.
Oh, really?
As the Kinks are being covered by KISW, the tune Father Christmas, which we will play for you today on these very airwaves coming up.
Our version, not the Kinks version.
Not the
Sorry.
Kinks. But either way, if you make a donation today,
you can hear Ted singing.
I was like, do we have to play?
We do. Ted gets a whole verse, man. Yeah.
All Mike and I do is play bells. Yeah. Whatever the hell.
Nobody plays bells like that.
The instrument parts are really good.
Yeah, Steve plays the bass on that bad boy.
Yeah.
Taryn Daly sings on
Taryn
it.
sings.
It's
and
good
she
stuff.
can.
Mike sings.
Yeah. Here's what you need to know today. If you give today, Taylor Driving School and UMass Global, they will be matching donations up to $1,000.
Nice.
Okay. Which means if you go and give $50, they'll match that. There's no $100, right? That's very cool. Encourage you to go, and what you want to do when you go on KISW.com, you want to click on Coats for Kids. That link will take you to the place where you can donate, and you can also see the video that we put together. And if you want to make that top bid, you'll be included in that video. So
right. But you got to click on the Coats for Kids to see the video.
Exactly. And then from there, please make a donation if you can. And again, it's going to be matched up to $1,000. By the way, Coats for Kids Day is presented by our friends at Palace Law, and all that stuff is up at KISW.com. Don't get a chance to make it to your computer. Just know that at 4:16, 4:20, somewhere in there, we will play the Father Christmas Couch Riffs version from what I will call the KISW Holiday Players.
There you go.
I don't know what the hell the name of the band
Rolls
is.
off the tongue.
But something like that anyway. So that's coming up. That's a cool thing. And, of course, we'll do our Men's Room Happy Hour today, episode number 77, as we leave these airwaves and head to the Odyssey app exclusively. It is a adult-only program.
Yes.
And with that, today, the return of the effing news, as we have a bunch of stories where the F word has come out in lots of different ways, depending on the situation. Some are happy F-bombs.
Sure.
Some are angry F-bombs. Some are, oh my goodness, I'm surprised F-bombs. There's so many ways.
It's a very versatile word.
And a very versatile segment because of that. Politics, sports, entertainment, music, you name it. People getting pulled over. One woman was screaming at her kids in the back of the car because she was drunk and got pulled over for a DUI and blamed them. So she dropped the F-bomb on her kids about 10 times in the backseat. They were in the backseat of the car. It's unbelievable. Like, so there's all kinds of stories that are just messed up. And we will bring those to you coming up with the Men's Room Happy Hour. If you don't have the Odyssey app, download it now for free. Search for the Men's Room. Once you do that, you'll see the Men's Room Happy Hour. That channel comes on live at 6 o'clock Monday through Friday. And we head on over there. And today on the question, we're going to talk about jobs. The coolest thing about any job you've ever had. Maybe it was a perk. It was just the fact that the job itself was awesome. Maybe you could take a nap during the middle of the day for 3 hours. Nobody knew. Maybe you were by yourself the entire time you were working. A lot of people just don't want to be around other people. And as we don't really, necessarily talk too much about the world of college football, necessarily that much in depth, we do on the Men's Room Happy Hour. But former Oklahoma Sooners head coach Lincoln Riley, he is headed to California to become the newest coach for the USC Trojans. If you are a Coug or Dog fan, you probably care about that a little bit. Either way, while all the details of the contract are not confirmed, here are some of the things that's being thrown out and what is speculated. And this is really going to set a precedent, I believe, as far as what other programs bring to the table in the world of college football.
Good luck.
Even more competitive than, I don't know. It's insane how many college football fans are out there. How many people, the base of teams is often the entire state or half of the state.
Sure, correct. The stadiums are bigger than the NFL.
Yes, they sell these out. You got to remember, at the University of Michigan, I want to say they get 25,000 new students a year. And trust me when I say that with that number, the fan base is huge. Not only that, every parent, if they did not go there, they will now support their child's school. So the fan bases are absolutely huge. The booster money is insane as far as people who have graduated become successful. And what better way to give back to an institution of education than to throw money at the head football coach? You know what I'm saying? Like,
it makes you feel better about paying for your kids to go.
Right, really, and a lot of fans are just from that area. Like everybody in my family tailgates Maryland football games all the time, but I'm pretty sure my brother and my uncle are the only two that have degrees from
there. Right. I mean, look. My daughter, I went to West Virginia. Whenever they're on, I'll watch the team. I want them to do well. I want them to win. I give them money every once in a while. I do not give it to the athletic side of things. I give it to the school. I give it to the School of Journalism. Hopefully, then they cover the athletes.
Then they cover the athletes.
They cover the athletes. That's how that works. Daughter goes to San Diego State. I have another daughter that went to Western. Unfortunately, Western doesn't exactly have a football team.
They don't have a football team,
but they're undefeated. But I can't really root them on as much. But, whenever time I see somebody with a Western, sweatshirt on, whatever, I'm like, hey, man, my kid goes there, whatever. But with San Diego State, I don't care about San Diego State. But whenever they come on television, and there they are, and there's the basketball team playing, I'm like, I wonder what guy my daughter's dating. And then I'll, watch the game, and I root for the team. So the fan base is
football team had a decent year.
They're bigger, and the basketball team's not bad either. So the former Sooner coach, who replaced national champion Bob Stoops after 5 years in Norman, is rumored to bring in $110 million. USC is reported to be buying both his homes in Norman for $500,000 over asking, adding up to a $1 million bonus. First of all, I'm not exactly sure if you've been to Norman or you know anything about it. It is not the biggest town.
No,
it is not.
Absolutely not.
And to be honest with you, I can't imagine why you would need to have two homes in Norman because traffic's probably not an issue. I'm not sure exactly how this goes down.
Well, you got to have, I would assume he has, a mansion closer to the campus, and then probably, a giant lake house somewhere out in the middle of the country.
All right, there you go. That would explain it. So they're going to
house. The amazing thing to me is it's Norman, Oklahoma. So to give someone $500,000 over asking price,
right,
in my mind means he made like $580,000. I know he lives well, but again, I'm just saying, in Norman, frickin' Oklahoma.
Have you seen what his office looked like?
No,
at the University of Oklahoma, and it's built into the football stadium. I mean, you've never seen an office this big. I mean, it is. The college football stuff is ungodly. It is. It's so crazy. Much money.
And you also have to remember, when you live in Norman, Oklahoma, and that is your hometown, I'm not saying that there are people there who are not affluent. What I'm saying is, when you get into the multi-million-dollar home buying process, there are not a lot of suitors, okay? So, there's only a few people who can afford to buy those homes. That house could have been on the market, you know what I mean? And it helps that it used to be the head coach. But those homes can be on the market for years until someone comes in with enough money. Maybe they hire a new president of the university. Or maybe, somebody who owns a financial group in the area buys the home. But I can tell you right now, they do not sell as fast as a multi-million-dollar home flies in Seattle with a bunch of people with a ton of money. Mm-hmm. Norman doesn't work that way. So to get $500,000 over asking price is insane. To give you an idea, where I grew up in Morgantown, West Virginia, there is one neighborhood for the ultra-rich. Meaning that if you have a multi-million-dollar home, there's one gated community. And this is where all these guys live. But when someone moves out, they don't sell the home for years until someone else has enough money to move in and be able to actually buy the house.
Right, the next coach.
So that's exactly right.
Right.
So come on. There's a buddy of mine who played in the NFL for 13 years. He lives there. Jeff Hostetler lives there. The people who own Mylan Pharmaceuticals live there. But these are homes that are unattainable. And when they do go on sale, they're hard to sell. So $500,000 is a big deal. Then they buy him a $6 million home in Los Angeles and allowing him unlimited use of a private jet 24/7 for him and his family. Now, that to me is one of the craziest.
Yes.
I mean, how can this guy say no? You know what I'm saying? There's no.
When we were hired, we were off for 2 weeks vacation.
Yeah. Which was a big deal.
And it was cool.
Yeah.
I giggle every time they say, you're going to pay me not to be here. Okay.
Not only that.
This guy's getting a private jet. We're going to buy your house. You're going to buy both your houses. You can buy you another house. You got family? Yeah, you got family. Do they like private jets? Hell, I'll tell you what. Tell you what we'll do for you. Your whole goddamn family. 24/7. Hop on it like guys like 2 weeks vacation would have been cool, but okay. And and in addition to all of this, we're going to give you $110 million.
Okay. Here's an example. Here's an example. Guy named Calvin Johnson. He was a big-time receiver for the Detroit Lions for a number of years. He was one of the best players they had along with Barry Sanders. They never went anywhere. He got frustrated. He said, the hell with it. When he left, he was still somewhat under contract. And the Lions went and said, hey, you owe us $1 million some dollars. And Calvin said, look, I have fulfilled my end of this deal. Right. Like, you have proven that there's no way I'm done. I'm retiring. You're not getting your money back. That was guaranteed. Sorry, I was 4 to 5 years in. But I got hurt, it's 4.5. I'm not giving you the $1.5 million back. Since that point in time, they've been feuding, and Calvin Johnson has never gone back. And basically, I don't know, that relationship has never been mended because the Lions say Calvin Johnson owes him $1.7 million. Okay, in this case, Lincoln Riley was supposed to pay back $4.5 million to Oklahoma.
Don't worry about it.
Not fulfilling his contract. So USC said, we'll pay that too.
Mm-hmm. Think about that.
We'll pay that too.
This is all before they even told him how much they were going to pay him.
Because he owes that money back. And USC says, no. We got you back.
Mm-hmm.
The $4.5 million that you got as a down payment on the contract you signed last year for 6 years, you don't have to pay that money back. You just got $4.5 million in your pocket. You don't even have to buy the house you're moving into.
I know. Or sell the ones that you're leaving.
And it's amazing. They say, well, he was there the next day. You don't even need a press conference. You know why? Because he's got unlimited use to a private jet. That's why he and his family got off the damn plane.
I think the hardest thing for him is just going to be adjusting to living in L.A. He's only lived in small college towns.
I bet his wife will hate it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Go to the beach on the weekend, living in the sunshine. I'm sure this is a real change from a glorious Norman, Oklahoma.
If I lived in Norman, Oklahoma, and I had a job offered in L.A., and they said, we'll pay you $10 a year, I'm like, sign me up.
Right.
Get me out of Norman, Oklahoma.
You know what people in Norman get excited about? Random Brian Bosworth sighting.
Right.
Saw Barry Switzer at Carl's Jr. Got a picture with him. I mean, there's not a lot going on down there. I'm sorry. It's football, and that's it. And basically, I'm sure they're going to.
I think you can make the argument that Oklahoma football is bigger than the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Yes.
The Thunder is the only professional team in Oklahoma.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Mm-hmm. So that's something you got to keep in mind, too. When it comes to these college programs, right, like you have the Saints, but an hour up the road is LSU, who just hired Brian Kelly. But
yes, Ted, I know.
10-year, $95 and this is chump change. 10-year, $95 million deal.
Right, so and their coach got fired because they lost 3 games this year, or they just weren't as good. But they won a national title 2 years ago.
Right, the coach they're
like, we'll give you $20 million to leave so we can hire another dude.
Again, not a bad gig.
No, it's not.
No.
If we have to let you go before the contract runs out, just understand that it's not personal, but we will pay you $20 million. Sign me up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
You're going to give me $20 million to fire me? Count me in.
I'll tell you what.
Because I can get myself fired.
All jobs have various benefits that you cannot believe. There was a stretch of time there where, like all of us in radio, you're not making a lot of money. Mm-hmm. And my wife at the time was a pharmaceutical rep. So she was doing pretty well for herself. But the medical insurance, you could walk into an emergency room, douse yourself in gasoline, and set yourself on fire. And they would pay for every single aspect of your care. It did not matter what you were.
Right.
It wouldn't matter how dumb you were. It wouldn't matter if you tried to cut your arm off with a bandsaw. They would try to put it back together, and you would not pay a dime. We never paid a dime for any kind of pharmaceutical transaction that involved any kind of prescription drugs. That counted for everything. I mean,
sure.
And then when that's when that relationship's gone, I'm like, oh my God, my insurance sucks.
Right.
And it's not that it's bad. It just in comparison.
It doesn't cover everything.
It was like, what is a copay? I've never even heard of a copay. You know what I mean? Like, I haven't had a copay in 8 years. What the hell is this? And then you realize how much it costs.
I think you misspelled copy. No, sir, that's copay.
Uh-huh. And I didn't realize how much it cost every paycheck. I mean, there's this huge chunk coming out. We didn't pay for that either.
Right.
I mean, it was, and no matter what, if you, with that insurance, you could call any doctor in town. It didn't matter if they were in your, what do they call that, network?
The network, yeah.
Or whatever. Like, we don't take that insurance. They're like, come on in. Because they knew they were guaranteed to get paid. So there was never an issue. You could go to the best, and it really helped with my daughter because she had some medical issues, but the best specialist, just anybody that you needed. You know, it was so easy. And at the time, I just thought that was normal because that was her job. She's on the road a lot. She's got to do this and blah, 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 blah. Yeah. They also gave her a goddamn car.
Right.
She had a car. She had a gas card. I mean,
the one that got me, right, because when I grew up, my mom worked at the AFL-CIO, right? Uh-huh. So it's the head of the labor unions. So the insurance is pretty good.
Sure.
But yeah, when I was in my early 20s and was off that insurance, I had never seen her pay more than $1 or $2 for a prescription. So the idea of paying full price for a prescription was like, no, wait, something's wrong back there.
Oh, you got to run that again.
Yeah, and they were like, no, that's what they actually cost. And I was like, what?
And they've only gotten exponentially more expensive since that point in time. You know, in 20 years. I mean, the cost of medication and everything. So to have that perk was insane. She also got a brand new, and then it was like this. If you put 30,000 miles on the car, then they give you a new car.
The car that they gave you.
Right. And they encourage you to take it on vacation. So you were just like, hey, look, man, let's just drive this thing to Key West. You know, put as many miles on it as you can, or whatever you can do.
If I'm going to get a new car just because I'm driving the one you gave me, like, I'm in.
New guy who gets hired, right? You see his new car. It's like 2 years, 1 year old, newer than yours. You know what I mean? It's an upgraded version, whatever the deal is. It's like, oh, I'm going to rack up some miles because in 2 months, I'm getting that thing.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I roll. I had a gas card. Every once in a while, I just take the gas card on my own. Go fill up my car because gas card, insurance, all these things. I mean, basic stuff that we didn't have to pay went a long way.
Yeah, I knew somebody else that had a gas card with their job or something for a while, and that was always like a joke. Like if you got gas, it'd be like, seriously, do you want a Gatorade? Like a bag of, do you want anything in that store?
Clothing,
like, we can get it. And I was like,
clothing allowance, all these different things. And before the aspect of the Sarbanes-Oxley law that went into effect, that's where you can't basically bribe doctors and give them gifts. So the more OxyContin they sell, basically, the more people that they can kill.
It's
the
more
money.
this. It's not that you can't do it. They signed that to tell doctors, stop telling us about it. The same as still happens. Exactly. Like, just, dude, do it off the books.
Yeah. If you sold or if you got it in front of enough doctors to the point where they were prescribing your medicine at the rate that they would like, depending on if you're a diabetic or whatever the deal was, they would offer trips. And I'm not talking about one person gets a trip. I'm talking about 15 people are going to the Bahamas. 15 people are going to an all-inclusive in the Dominican. This would happen quarterly. Quarterly. These trips would be offered. I mean,
they used to do it once a year in radio. Now, not for anyone that was on the air, but for salespeople. And one time, and to give you an idea of just how disassociated our reality, we said, well, that's great you took the salespeople. They're selling our show. Hey, maybe we should go to Mexico. Their exact response was, why? Never mind, man. Never mind. It's all good. You do your thing.
What is the coolest thing about any job that you've ever had? 206-421-ROCK.
Find the gifts Dad craves at Lowe's. Right now, you can save on select Skill Power Core 12 tools that feature 25% longer runtime and have patented cooling technology. Save $10 off the Skill Power Core 12 brushless drill driver kit, now just $59.98. Or upgrade Dad's toolbox and save $30 on the 5-tool brushless combo kit, now just $169. There's nothing sweeter than Father's Day at Lowe's. Offer valid 6/9 through 6/22 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
The future will be amazing, and that's all well and good. But what about today? You can feel the rush of a 400-horsepower Nissan Z, or climb to new heights in the all-terrain Nissan Frontier. Light up the road in the all-electric Nissan Ariya that feels like a sci-fi dream come true. The future will be great, but today is made for thrill. All you have to do is get in a Nissan and drive. 2023 Ariya and Z not yet available for purchase. Expected availability is this spring for 2023 Z and this fall for 2023 Ariya.
Take the next step toward the career you want, be it business, cybersecurity, healthcare, or more. UMGC can help you get there. No application fee when you apply by August 31st. Visit umgc.edu, certified to operate by Chev.
When the hot water needs to be hot, when the drain needs to drain, when the toilet needs to flush, you need to do two things. Stop freaking and call Beacon. Beacon Plumbing, Heating, and Mechanical. On call and there when you need them most. 1-800-FREAKIN or beaconplumbing.net.
The men's room is in progress.
Yeah, Giving Tuesday, Codes for Kids Day. Please head to KISW.com now and check out the video there.
Giving Tuesday?
Yeah. Giving Tuesday.
That is not very rock and roll. I'm sorry.
Giving Tuesday. We're going to give that. Codes for Kids. You know,
right?
Kids?
No, I think the idea of giving to charities is a good idea. It's why we support, say, the Fisher House, right?
Yeah.
We're doing Codes for Kids. We've done Cakes for Kids, but that's not very rock and roll. Come on, Miles. God.
Gotta stop reading your emails, Steve. Codes for Kids Day. Check out the video now. By the way, we'll play the version of Father Christmas, courtesy of the KISW Holiday Players coming up for you. About 4:16 or so. But just keep in mind today, any donation that you make will be matched by our friends at Taylor Driving School and UMass Global, up to $1,000. And the highest donation today, you'll be a part of that video.
What driving school?
The Taylor Driving School and UMass Global.
All right. Taylor Driving School, you need more students. And look, some of them are already on the road. It's not your fault. They slipped through the cracks. They got their license. But I'm telling you, every day, it's like, God damn it.
I know.
50% of you clearly did not go there.
Codes for Kids Day presented by Palace Law. Please head to KISW.com and give when you can. $20 puts a brand new coat on a child in need here in Washington, thanks to BJ and Miggs and the Washington State Council of Firefighters and Operation More. They're doing some good this holiday season. All right, to our question, what is the coolest thing about any job that you've ever had? 206-421-ROCK.
Hello, Paul. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola, bichos.
Hola.
Hey, first of all, I want to say thank you for the live show I was at the casino. It was awesome.
Oh, well.
All right,
That was a fun day. Yeah,
I'm going to let you in on a secret. Most people don't know this. Not just our show, but also BJ and Miggs. They were all body doubles. We actually took the day off. Yeah, those are all our body doubles.
Well, you guys had a great show. It's good to see you in person.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Awesome. So the best job I ever had, or one of the best perks of one of the jobs I had, is when I was a funeral director in college.
Say no more.
Oh, yeah.
all the free jewelry.
I mean, as a necrophiliac.
No, I wasn't laying down with anybody.
All right. Okay. Well, what else are you going to do?
Yeah. I mean, what was the perk of being a funeral director? I mean, other than my own.
Look at the guy. Look at the size this guy's testicles in here. Come here. Check this out. I got a whole Instagram page dedicated to it. Deadballs.com.
There was some of that. No, the best part I thought for me was driving the hearse around.
What was it about driving the hearse? Is it the looks that you got from people?
Kids pointing and crying? What?
People would always stay at least like 30 yards away from the car at all times, and if I had a casket in it, it'd even be worse. I'd pull up to a gas station with a casket in it, and people were like, what the hell are you doing?
But you got to admit, man, that would be great glamping. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, and
pull up with that thing by the river, man, put an inflatable bed back there, as long as you can get past all the dead bodies that have been in there. You know
well, the best part is when we had a college Halloween party in college, and I parked it right in front of my house.
So and I'm assuming it's a Cadillac, right? Or is it a Lincoln?
It was an old Caddy.
Okay, that had to be a pretty smooth drive anyway.
If it ran on all 8 cylinders.
If you had a body in the back, right? You got the casket in the back. Did you ever go out of your way to stop somewhere? Just free, like I'm going to go to the McDonald's drive-thru at a busy time, just because I know people are staring at this thing.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And not only that, but act like you're talking to the person in the casket. Hey, man, you want a cheeseburger before he puts you down? All right, give me one more cheeseburger.
I would just look over at people and smile at them, and they'd be like, that guy's crazy.
So what do you mean that you had an 8-cylinder but only ran on 6? Or whatever, how many?
The car was so old, and it was backfiring. It was only running on 4 cylinders. It was like
you tell me a hearse that's an 8-cylinder has 4 dead cylinders in it?
It was
terrible. I mean, and trying to drive it through the cemetery and be quiet, that was impossible.
How long did you drive, or how long were you a funeral director?
I was in college, so I did it for 5 years.
Okay, and what are some of the odder requests that you got? As families come in, and every family has its own dynamic, but what are some of the stranger requests you got from families?
Most of the time, it was just regular stuff like, don't let that family member in. They're going to cause a problem, or...
Is that on you? Like, if I'm a funeral director, if they give me a list of people who, quote-unquote, can't show up, like, is that on me to be the first ring of defense?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
What about, I've seen this once. I had a buddy that passed away, and there was one of our friends who he showed up to everything absolutely blacked out.
All right.
Right? Not just like, it's a viewing. Some people might have a drink or two before you go in. But yeah, he showed up completely blacked out and started like sobbing.
Oh, no.
Like that crying out loud. It's like, it's going to make a scene towards the coffin. Like he'd be like almost carried out.
Okay, let me ask you this, funeral director. Have you ever, because it's happened to everyone at the most inopportune time. The difference with you is that it's a funeral, so it's heavy and it's serious. But just an uncontrollable case of the giggles. Not because of the funeral, but just something else, and here you are snickering under your breath.
Yeah, I mean, people during that time are just crazy. I mean, I had one person that was on top of the casket practically going to throw it right off of the cart, and I was like, you've got to get off the casket. I know you're sad and everything, but you got to go.
What about, depending on the family? I mean, don't some people put out, like, just during the viewing, just huge spreads of food?
Yeah, there's different religions, so I can't remember. Some of them will go for 3 days at a time, and after a while, thank God the body's embalmed because, the body's going to start to rot.
Well, not only that, but I'm just saying, like, it just seems weird to eat around a dead person. Like, I'm one of those people who I will not take food or drink into the bathroom normally. It's just a weird thing.
But you're not typically eating, at the funeral. You know what I mean?
But nobody's right there. He's right. Like, they had cookies and stuff with my grandfather's
Jesus
funeral, right?
Oh,
I don't feel like a cookie. Do you want a cookie then? I didn't want a cookie.
What kind of cookie? If it's a funeral, like, just give me a cookie. Give me something.
Okay, all right.
I need to make myself feel better.
Now, after 3 days, I'm like, can you please get out of my funeral home, please?
Okay, let me ask you a question. If you passed on during that time, would your funeral be taken care of on the house?
No, that's too expensive.
But you don't even get that perk that as the funeral director, you drop dead or get hit by a car.
Here's
or
the
something.
good news.
Like, they won't take care of that.
Give me a discount on a nice casket.
All right. What's a casket cost?
Depends on what kind of gig. Get a metal or a wood one, but our most expensive casket, I think, at that time, this was a while ago, was like $9,000.
And the difference between a casket and a coffin, if I have this right, the coffin is the 5-sided kind of wooden box, and the casket is what, the nicer, upgraded version?
Yeah, but they don't really make coffins anymore. Not that I know of. They're just too weird looking. But you can still get really nice, you can get nice metal ones and wood ones and stuff like that. But depending on how much you want to spend, you can get $100,000.
No, you're going to put me. You're going to put me in this nice thing. I'm already dead, so I clearly at this point have no opinion of it. But you put me in the thing, and then the thing gets buried under 6 feet of dirt. Like, I don't care what it looks like, man.
Catch me on fire.
Right, it doesn't matter.
That's all I'm saying.
This is even crazier. You could buy a $5,000 casket and then get cremated. They take the casket away and go crush it because you can't use it again.
That doesn't make any sense. You think there'd be a used casket line somewhere?
I mean, I feel like
partially used.
Right, just have the casket we use for cremations. Right, I mean, seriously, like how many caskets you want to go through, man?
They just put me on a blue tarp or something, you know what I mean, and then haul my ass out.
All right, I'm going to ask you.
Fine by me.
This is a sad question, but as far as all the funerals you directed, what is the fewest number of people you've seen show up for someone?
Oh, I've had some where I remember that nobody showed up, and I was really sad about it because I was like, wow, nobody knew you, I guess.
Well, or they did know them. Or they did know, exactly. So it's one of two. You could be sad, but you could maybe then understand why.
If nobody knew you, that's one thing. If people knew you and said, I'm not going to their funeral, that's sad.
Well, if nobody showed up, I could close the place up early.
Okay.
Yeah, but what is the grace period you give? Say it's the start time's 1 o'clock. How long before you just shut the doors and say no one's coming?
I do the night shift, so it would go from 4 to 9. So I would probably, if it wasn't by 8 o'clock, I was turning the lights off.
Okay, does anyone come in with flip flops, swim trunks? You know what I mean? Tank top.
No, it was pretty good. I mean, there were some oddities that would come in once in a while, and those are the ones you kind of kept an eye on because you're like, you're going to create trouble.
Okay, how about extracurricular relationships? So, in other words, this person passes on. He's had a girlfriend. Nobody knows about it. You know, he was 80 years old, still married to whoever, but now he's got, and she comes in later maybe, or he comes in later, or does that work that way sometimes?
I mean, that could have happened because I had families come in and say, hey, we don't want this one woman. They give me a description of her, and they're like, if she comes anywhere near the property, you need to call the police and have her taken away, or you have to do something with her. And I was like, oh, thanks for the heads up.
Well, unless there's a restraining order against this person, is that legal?
Yeah, I mean, anybody can go into those things. If you're if you don't even know the person, and there's a situation going on, you just walk in and pay your respects to a stranger.
Okay. That's what I'm saying. I mean, it's
my aunt's really weird, right? So my aunt, this is not funerals, this is weddings. But every Christmas, we used to go to Mazatlan each Christmas, right? Just the idea, just want some warm weather, blah, blah, blah. But their major cathedral is kind of their thing, okay? And in this particular town, it's a small town. It's this massive Catholic cathedral, and it's gorgeous inside and all that. And I've seen the inside once. It's worth looking at architecturally and historically. But as far as services going on, right, I'm out. So my aunt would disappear for hours at a time, and she'd come back, and she'd have little beads or something, or a handful of flower petals. And I'm like, man, where have you been? And she's like, well, there was a wedding at this cathedral. I'm like, do you know these people? She's like, I sure don't, Stephen Gregory. But I would go and this is her. She would sit in the back, and she would sit through 3 or 4 weddings. And I'm like, what? You don't know these people. Weddings, generally speaking, are boring. They're certainly boring if you don't know the person. They're just so beautiful. Because of this particular cathedral, if you get married there,
it's a big deal.
Right. They put on, they pull out all the stops and do the thing. I'm like, but I don't understand why you sat in the back. She's like, you're just quiet. I met many different mothers and fathers. They're very nice. I've danced with people. They feed
You go to the reception?
She literally...
I was like, how'd you get the reception?
Everything, because she's that person, man. So she sits through all of these weddings. That is her thing, too. Everyone else is at the beach.
She was the original wedding crasher?
She's the original wedding crasher, man. And she will sit in the back of this cathedral and just wait for the next wedding to come in. I've been out with her where we're walking through town. And you'll see kind of the procession of wedding people headed toward the cathedral. So, I'll catch you later, Stephen Gregory. And I'm like, I get it. I know.
It's her version of a party.
It is. She enjoys it.
Hey, you know what? That's all right.
I guess.
No one cares. Obviously, no one cares. She's not bothering anybody.
So, there's always a couple empty... I feel like I've been to enough weddings. If it's over, 70 people, there's always a couple people that don't show up.
Sure.
Whether they get sick or... I don't know, something's wrong with their family. It's like, yes, it's okay to have an extra guest.
But do you want seat fillers? You know what I mean? Like, hey, not everyone showed up, so hey, 5 strangers, come on in, grab a seat.
Well,
if she's nice, though, she's dressed appropriately.
Very nice. She's
so,
dressed appropriate.
It's kind of crashing a wedding, but she's not there to rip drinks and hook up with a bridesmaid.
No, she's not, man. She's not there for the reason we would be there.
If it's that big of a cathedral and that big of a to-do, then my money says it's always over 200 people. You know what I'm saying? As far as the number of family members that show up. So if you have a smaller wedding, 60 people, whatever, sometimes you go to the table and have your name on it. You know, as far as where you're supposed to sit,
but I think
what table you're with your friends, whatever the deal is.
But at this place, my sense, anyway, and I don't know because I have not joined or sat through any of the weddings of strangers in Mexico, for God's sakes. But I feel if you live in Mazatlan, like that's the place, and everyone there's Catholic, like that is a very devout country, but that's the place you want to get married. So you could have a wedding party, 40 people, right? Mm-hmm. I think that's still the joint that you try to get it done. And she sits, I'll be sure to ask her next time.
Yeah. What is the coolest thing about any job that you've ever had? 206-421-ROCK.
You were asking that guy about the viewing, right?
Yeah.
I was at a wedding, a good friend of mine, right? You guys all heard me talk
funeral
about
or what?
A funeral.
Okay.
Yeah, a funeral, right? And this is a piece of advice. At funerals, I don't think you should say, hey, does anybody else want to say anything? No. So my buddy Bernie, right? He's from a family of 8 kids, right? But after they raised all those kids, the dad and mom ends up breaking up.
Okay.
So he moves up to a different part of the state in Western Maryland, has a whole different family. And it's fine. Like over the years, all the families intermix. Yeah. But when his dad passed away, like everybody's there from all the families, right? And the one uncle they go, anybody want to say anything else? The one uncle gets up there and he goes, I'm talking to the family. The real family. Oh. And it was like, come on, man.
Jesus.
Miles, what was your deal?
Miles, trust me, somebody had to get up and be like, come on.
Yeah, don't say the real family. Mm-hmm. What is your grandfather? If your grandfather passes, you'd given him what? Your watch from the Orange Bowl?
Gator Bowl.
The Gator Bowl. Right. But you kind of wanted it back. Thought you would give it back.
Listen, this is basically what it was. My grandfather was essentially my father growing up.
Okay,
right?
Yeah.
So he fulfilled that role for me. So, you know, at the Gator Bowl, they give you this big gaudy ring and this big gaudy watch.
Sure, and you earned it, man. You got to the Gator Bowl.
I'm not wearing
even
this.
As a punter.
I'm not wearing this crap, right? You know what I mean? I'm not. But I know that, they're watch-wearing people. I was not a watch-wearing person. I'm not a ring-wearing person.
And he's proud of you, man. His grandson's in the Gator Bowl.
Especially one that's just this huge gaudy-ass ring. It was too much. So I told my grandfather, I said, listen, I want you to have this. And he said, okay, I'll tell you what. He said, I will wear this for the remainder of my life. But when I pass on, this watch goes back to you.
Yeah.
He's like, I want you to still be able to wear this watch one day. And, I said, okay, that's a deal. Well, that was just 2 people talking on a porch. So I'm not sure that conversation ever made it farther than that, right? So obviously, when he passes away, it was tough. It was like a red eye to get home, and it was all of a sudden, and I'm shaken up about the whole thing. And then I get to the funeral home, and I look in there, and first of all, Granddad had lost probably 30 pounds in the last 2 weeks of his life.
Sure.
So he looked very gaunt. He didn't look like the same.
They never look the same.
He didn't look,
Which, on a quick side note, everyone complains. That's good. Don't look the same when you're dead when you did when you're alive.
Yeah.
Just saying.
So I'm having this moment where I'm standing over the casket. I'm looking down at my granddad. I'm just looking at him. And it's heavy, And then I look at him like, there's that goddamn watch. And I'm kind of looking around like, I'll be a mother. How do I get that damn thing off his arm? You know what I mean? I want that watch back. Because I hadn't seen it,
right?
In 25 years. So now I'm looking back down and I'm like, that was a really nice watch. Yeah. You know what I mean? That thing's sweet. Now I'm old, I like it. You know what I mean? He's got it on his wrist. So of course I don't say anything. I'm just but it really...
Because there's no way to say, hey, I'm not trying to be inappropriate, guys. The watch on Granddad's wrist, I really kind of want that back.
It deflected from the pain. It deflected from the sorrow, from the sadness. Because I always think about, that mother, the watch. I don't get that watch on that casket. I wonder what time everybody's going to leave here. Wonder if I could, pull a fire alarm real quick. Get everybody out of here, then... I'll just grab that damn thing off his wrist.
Did you get the watch back?
Okay, so, oh God. So, all right. So this is the viewing. All right? The funeral follows the next morning, all right? Up to a cemetery plot beside a river. So I'm in a procession, this thing, you know what I mean? And you get one last look, kind of thing, then they shut the casket. I'm looking, and
you still have to watch him.
I couldn't see, you know.
But you looked for it.
I did. I couldn't see his wrong angle. I didn't want to
the last time you're going to see him.
Again, I was standing over top of him, looking down, like, you got my watch on, you ass. And then, but obviously, my mom or my grandmother had given the outfit that he was going to wear to put down in, so he didn't have anything to do with that. But and I'm watching this casket just being lowered into this hole. People are crying. It's a sad moment. You know what I mean? I'm standing there. I look over at my sister. She's having a difficult time. My brother was very close to my grandfather. He's broken up, you know, and only thing I'm thinking is, there goes that watch. It's going right down in there. And then they just start loading on the dirt. And I'm like,
I'll be a grave robber one day.
Yeah, right. That watch is gone. Son of a bitch, you know? So anyway, my mom's cleaning out some stuff. This is 10, 15 years later. All right, 10 years later. I'm in her house. And I'm telling her the story for the first time. I'm like, I cannot believe that he goddamn wore that watch. You know what I mean? Went into the grave with that thing. She's like, oh, I took the watch off. It's in my dresser. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. She's like, oh, no. I took it off. She's like, I got it for you. She's like, I just forgot.
She did it for you.
Yeah.
Huh, all right,
I forgot to give it to you. It's like, you got to be kidding me.
She's probably like, I saw you staring at it.
Yeah, I was going to say, good thing you didn't take it off.
Like, you didn't think to tell me about the watch. She's like, well, I knew you and Granddad had a thing. He told me that, you know, when he passed on, he wanted to get back. I'm like, Jesus, God, Mom, it's been 10 years. I've been dead for 10 years. The watch is sitting in your dresser.
I dug him up twice.
What? Yeah, exactly. I hired people to dig that thing up. Paid him in oxys. Come on. What is the coolest thing about any job that you've ever had? 206-421-ROCK.
Find the gifts Dad craves at Lowe's. Right now, you can save on select Skill Power Core 12 tools that feature 25% longer runtime and have patented cooling technology. Save $10 off the Skill Power Core 12 brushless drill driver kit, now just $59.98. Or upgrade Dad's toolbox and save $30 on the 5-tool brushless combo kit, now just $169. There's nothing sweeter than Father's Day at Lowe's. Offer valid 6/9 through 6/22 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
The future will be amazing, and that's all well and good. But what about today? You can feel the rush of a 400-horsepower Nissan Z. Or climb to new heights in the all-terrain Nissan Frontier. Light up the road in the all-electric Nissan Ariya that feels like a sci-fi dream come true. The future will be great, but today is made for thrill. All you have to do is get in a Nissan and drive. 2023 Ariya and Z not yet available for purchase. Expected availability is this spring for 2023 Z and this fall for 2023 Ariya.
Take the next step toward the career you want, be it business, cybersecurity, healthcare, or more. UMGC can help you get there. No application fee when you apply by August 31st. Visit umgc.edu, certified to operate by Chev.